All right. Hello,
Wow.
everyone, and welcome to the April 2022 board meeting. I'll be your host tonight, and with me, we've got Paco as a host as well, that we just made
Hello.
up in this moment.
Hmm.
Um, as always, welcome. If you're new to these kind of things, this is what we call our public board meeting. It's not really a board meeting, but it kind of is. Hopefully, in the future, when we have a board, it can kind of translate into this. Um, we're a very open company here, and so we want to make sure we've got this kind of process started from the very beginning. Um, if you're new and you're not familiar, we are recording this stream live, including the chat, including Discord voice. So if you don't consent to your text and/or voice being sent to YouTube and uploaded, please don't talk. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them in chat. But if it's not exactly related to what we're talking about, we may wait to answer them until the end of the stream. If you have questions that are just generically about Glimesh, just hold them to the end of the stream and we can kind of answer them. We'll end the recording after the board meeting and then continue on with questions and answers for a little while after. So, without further ado, welcome everyone. We have now officially had 2 board meetings in a row on time, which we haven't done since God,
Probably end of last year.
yeah, like June of last year, July, something like that. So we're on a streak here. You have Psychotic to thank for that directly. Just kidding. Everyone who's keeping us accountable, thank you for that. Um, this is our second board meeting of the year. We had one last month and then one this month. And so far, it's been a pretty exciting year. I'm not going to read this text verbatim, hopefully. So this is just here for your reference. But I'll kind of use it to key off where I'm at. But it's been a pretty exciting year so far. We have done a bunch of new features, like hosting, mobile app, all sorts of stuff. We actually released our mobile app last month. It is now in its kind of alpha phase, but we're not really calling it alpha. It's just Glimesh on your phone. It's rather basic at the moment. What you can do is you can open it, view streams, search for well, not search. You can explore streams with the different categories. You can actually click on the stream, watch it with the true FTL. You can chat in the stream. You can follow people. You can click and view your follows. All sorts of stuff. It's basically Glimesh on the go. We're going to be adding more and more features to that as time goes on, but for right now, it's kind of focused on that viewer experience. Um, we'll talk more about the mobile app here in a second, but also this month, we've kind of started the focus on marketing. We talked about this last month with the kind of splitting, or not even splitting, changing our focus to be focused more on marketing and less on development. And then a good amount of time this month was spent as well preparing for taxes. So taxes are happening right now. I've prepared all of ours and sent them to our accountant. And the good/bad news is none of our creators met the minimum threshold for tax filing for us last year. So we didn't have to send out any 1099s, which is good because we didn't have to do that work. But bad because none of our creators hit $600. But hopefully this will be that year or maybe next year. All right, so now let's talk about mobile app. The mobile app launch happened kind of in the middle of last month. I can't remember the exact date. I'm sure someone knows.
Second, I believe.
Second?
Yep. Yep, that was it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
100%.
Okay, well, the chart I'm about to show does not reflect that, so we'll come back to that. Um, so the release has gone pretty well, or extremely well, as the words here written, with about 500 downloads so far across iOS and Android. So far, Android is leading the charge with the number of downloads, but iOS is not far behind. So far, the app has been really well received. There are bugs, but they're pretty minimal, mostly inconveniences. There are a couple of weird things that we're still trying to figure out, but overall, it's a pretty solid product. We did have some minor issues getting onto the iOS store, but we were able to kind of figure out a workaround there and get that working. So we're going to focus on some bug fixes for the mobile app, but our core attention is still going to be marketing. So I wouldn't expect any net new features in the app for a little while. Now, if the community feels like making them, by all means, we'll release them. But as far as us developing it, it might happen not at this moment. I think the only feature we may get in sooner than later is making it so when you click on Glimesh links, it prompts you if you want to open the Glimesh app or not. Just because that's just silly that we don't have that. So, all right, so that's the mobile app. It's pretty basic right now, but it works really well. If you have any issues with it, we do have a bugs channel. We can help you figure them out or get them reported and triaged. So make sure you reach out there or Twitter or whatever makes sense to you. On RTMP news, we did make progress last month on thumbnail generation. So that takes a little snapshot of the stream and then uploads it so we can actually preview it. It seems like a relatively minor thing, but it took a lot of time and energy to get that working. But part of getting that working was starting to decipher the H.264 frames that we're processing. And I won't get too technical, but we were able to kind of, with the RTMP, figure out a way to save those H.264 frames, those bits, into files and actually generate VODs, if you will, from them. So we're not anywhere near VODs or clips or anything like that, but kind of exploring this thumbnail generation helped us figure out how that might be done in the future. So it was kind of a positive experience. We are going to need help testing RTMP in the future. Not the near future, but the near soon future. We're gonna have a alpha test form just because we want to make sure we keep close contact with testers. So be on the lookout for that. We'll post on Twitter and Discord and other places. All right, and then this second to last paragraph here is talking about a brand new announcement that we have. It's actually been in the progress for at least a month now, but
It's been more than that.
Yeah, 2 months, some number of months at this point. And it's been kind of on the down low for a little while, but we're actually going to be partnering on a very deep level with Glimesh. Glimesh is a set of simple add-ons that make your Glimesh experience easy. Things like chat overlays, alerts, links, that kind of stuff. That's what it handles. And it's pretty well loved in the community. I mean, there's a lot of alternatives out there. There's a lot of software to pick for alerts. But Glimesh is a nice simple one that works really well with Glimesh. So we're excited that over the next couple of months, we're going to actually be working with Brant, who is the creator of Glimesh, to add some of the basic functionality that it provides into Glimesh directly. So instead of having to go to glimesh.com or whatever, you'll be able to visit your own channel settings or your channel customizations and be able to embed some of that basic functionality directly in your channel. So the main goal really will be to have that kind of basic, ready to go out of the box package for you that only has a couple of options, right? You can change some colors or border roundness or whatever it is. But it kind of gives you the basic set of tools. And then if you want to go further and you want to figure out a more creative way of customizing your stream, then of course all of the other third-party tools will be your source for that. We're not trying to hurt any of the other third-party creators here. We just saw that there was a really big need for new streamers who are trying to figure out how to get started on Glimesh. and were confused by all of the options and how to get them set up. And so we want to provide an easy out of the box solution that covers just your kind of baseline stream alerts and chat overlays. And then if you ever want to go explore and jump off the deep end, then there's certainly tools out there to help you do that. So be on the lookout here soon for stuff from Glimly kind of pouring in. It'll kind of happen over time, but I think it'll be really nice to have, especially if we're bringing on new people to the platform. It'll kind of give them a kickstart on their stream to make it what they want it to be. All right. So yeah, it's good to hear, and I'm a big fan of Glimly. I think it'll be a nice addition to have that kind of just built out of the box. All right, and then like we talked about last month, our main focus now is marketing, is growth. Right, we want to grow the platform. As I said last month, there's more features to develop, there's more things to make, but we have to grow. We don't have time to wait for every feature to be implemented, especially since we're, I think I've said this before, like 3 people and a can of beans or something. The volunteer force that we have is very limited, and so we need to make sure that we're growing so we can continue to bring new people onto the platform and find new volunteers who want to help build what we have, or hopefully in the future employ people to build what we need to build. So growth is going to be our number one focus. We have a streaming platform. We have it's stable, it's functional. You can make money off of it. You can stream in super low sub-second latency. You can visit it on your phone. You can share it with your friends. There's a whole bunch you can do to make Glimesh work for you, especially with RTMP coming up. It makes sense to even add us to your restream pool, just to send your content here as well. So marketing is going to be our main focus because we have to grow this platform. We kind of have dedicated $2,000 a month to advertising / marketing, both your traditional ads, but then also like sponsorships or promotions or all sorts of stuff. So we hope that by starting to produce those marketing campaigns, we can increase not only our streamer base, which is important, right? I want to touch on that for a second. There's no point in us bringing in viewers if when you click gaming, there's no one live. Effectively a viewer clicking on a streaming site and there's no one to watch, they're no longer a viewer. You can't even call them a viewer. But I believe that the line between viewers and streamers is very thin. And as we grow streamers, that'll help us bring in viewers by not only those streamers being viewers, stay with me here, but whenever a viewer clicks on gaming, there's someone live. Even if it's restreamed content from another platform, that still helps us have this appearance of being live. And I think that's one of the main things that hold us back, honestly. Whenever we launched last year, it was so attractive to people to join because there was so much hype and energy around it. But now, whenever there's tweets out there that say, "Oh, Glimesh is dead. Look at, there's no one streaming on Glimesh or whatever," that brings everyone down. You saying, and this is not targeted at anyone in particular, but people saying that on the internet kind of brings the mood down and brings the hype down, and it makes us even harder to grow. So we want to make sure that whenever you click gaming or tech or education or IRL, whatever it is, that there's someone to watch, because then you'll come back. Then you're a viewer and you can actually use the platform to your advantage. So there's a couple of questions I missed, I think. Let's see here. Do you guys have any plans to try to look into a way to bring dedicated viewers to the platform? Yeah, so our marketing is not just targeted on streamers. We want to make sure we're targeting the whole gamut. But at the same time, once we do have some amount of traction and growth, then absolutely it becomes about starting to target that viewer audience as well. Saying like, hey, we've got this event coming up. Let's say some Fortnite championship. We've got that coming up. Let's actually use that Fortnite championship to produce ads that we can email out, that we can put on Twitter, that we can put in the mobile app that shows you, hey, on the 14th, we'll be having a Fortnite championship. And then viewers not only have something to look forward to, but also like an anchor of activity, so that way it seems that Glimesh is even more alive than it actually is. So absolutely, we want to target everyone for growth. Um, like I said last month, what we're looking for especially is sponsoring people and brands and things that will give us kind of recurring views as opposed to one time. So a Twitter ad is like a one time view. You see it and then you move on. That's it. What we want to do is like sponsor a podcast where at the beginning of every podcast, they talk about Glimesh, right? They give their honest feedback or talk about some of the news that we have or whatever it is. That way, every time you listen to that podcast, Glimesh is in your ear. Or hell, I mean, partner with brands who are making coffee and put our, get a Glimesh bag or put our brand somehow on it or include a free like Glimesh coffee scooper or whatever. That's something that like every time you get a fucking cup of coffee, you use your Glimesh scoop. That's a good one. You can use that. I'll let you take that one. So anyways, the point there is we like those recurring sponsorship abilities as opposed to like just ads. We don't want to buy a Google ad necessarily because it just you pay tons of money and then it's gone. So all right, rant over. Let me know if you need a jingle. We do need a jingle. All right, so let's talk about metrics. This is going to be just short. There's not much here yet. As we talked about last month, we're going to start changing our metrics, things that we track, in order to reflect things that we want to improve or change in some way. So right now, we've been just tracking like social people and just lines on a chart and all this kind of stuff. That's virtually meaningless. We're not doing anything to make it go upwards, so it's not really helping us to track it. So we're in progress of changing those metrics over, but for now they're not ready yet. I'm not fully decided, so we've got our old metrics up here. This is our unique streamers and peak viewers chart. This is available on the website as well. It's pretty. Excuse me. It's pretty standard right now, pretty status quo for us. There's a dip here at the end of peak viewers. I did limit the chart, so it only encapsulates full weeks. But at the end of kind of the beginning of April, there's just been slightly less peak viewers watching. Now, our website traffic hasn't gone down any considerable amount since then. You can see that during January here, we did have like a higher baseline average of number of visitors, kind of at about 800 a day. And we're at a baseline of about 600, maybe 700 now. So there's a slight difference there, but it's not really huge. So then this next chart here, so this one is 3 months. So that's from January 1st to now. And then you can see it's been 66,000 unique visitors. And then last month, all of March, you can see that here. 21,000 unique visitors, 141,000 page views. Yeah, Helion, we can't get trapped in this idea that we need more features to have more people. That has turned out to be not true every single time. Growing the platform is about marketing, period. We can build features all day, it will not make people come. The answer is more in depth than that, but that's, we've got a year of experience to tell us that. And then this last chart here is the app. So we're actually tracking the usage of the app. And Paco, this is why I was doubting you. I don't think we launched on the 2nd. I think we launched later in the month.
22nd.
22nd. Okay, yeah.
Did it cut out the beginning of my word when I said it earlier?
I heard 2nd, and I was like, you know what? I do not believe you. So this is our app view. So you can see we launched the app on the 22nd here. Boop, goes up. We've had about, I don't know exactly what unique visitors is in the term of an app, but we've had about 961 unique visitors, and they've clicked on 16,000 links. Yeah, there's a phone app, both for Android and iOS. And then so far it looks like about 5 minutes is the average visit duration on the app. Now, both Android and iOS give us more in-depth analytics, but I just haven't pulled those up yet. So the app is getting good traction. We've got about 40, 50, 60 people using it every single day to watch streams. And it's so easy to download now. I think that number is just going to increase with time, especially if we can get potential viewers or new people to the platform to download the app. Then whenever we have notifications, which will be often, hopefully that'll give them incentive to keep checking it frequently. All right, everyone ready for finances? I definitely want to have this conversation that's happening in chat. So let me get through this finances stuff and then we can talk. All right, so let's do finances. So as always, we split it up into two categories: software as a service, which is like generally recurring revenue, and then physical sales, which are kind of like one-time things, like a T-shirt. So at the very top here, gross subscriptions. This is the total amount of money we took in for the month from Stripe, from all of you out there. It's been about $2,195. We had a normal amount of expenses last month, totaling about $1,300 from Stripe directly, with a caveat here of we had a lot of fraudulent charges, a lot of fraudulent subscriptions and donations against channels in the month of March. And we'll talk about that more here in a second. But basically, we ended up refunding all of those subscriptions and donations back to the fraudulent card. That way, because it's the right thing to do. But that way, it wouldn't cause any trouble with.
Clone, I think we're having some issues with the stream itself.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, I can see it fucking around. Hold on here, folks. Give me 1 second. Since this is mostly static, I'm gonna drop it down to 3,000. I think my internet gets shit at night. The other thing is I resized. I might have fucked up the edges. Let me see. Yeah, I fucked up the edges.
Way to go.
What do I do about this? Give me 1 second. Let me send some traffic somewhere else. I'll tell you what I did in a second. Okay. Can everyone just do me a favor and refresh the stream real quick? At least half of you. The edges are what you view the video from. Okay, there we go. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Sorry about that. We should be good now. It should be more stable. I need to undo that, so remind me later. So let me talk about the finances real quick, and then I've got a caveat at the end that will kind of wrap up what just happened. So anyways, we had fraudulent charges. We'll cover that here in a minute. We refunded people appropriately. We had merch sales, which is great, except for it cost us more to make the t-shirts and pay Shopify than it did to make money off of them. So we did lose $12, but what the fuck ever. Infrastructure cost us $1,411. That's DigitalOcean costs, Vultr costs, all sorts of stuff. And then recurring services was about $302. I think, let me see here real quick. The new recurring services are Notion, which we're paying $10 a month for. So that amounts for some of that difference. And then I think here, something else charged. I'm not sure what it was, but something else on the recurring charged. And then the one-time services, which is right below here, I had to buy 1 month of 2 VPN services so I could test the mobile app to make sure it worked while using a VPN. This is due to Apple rejecting our app the first time, which we ended up fixing. So those are just one-time purchases. So that
I got to
brings,
call Clone in the middle of the night to wake him up and tell him that the app was approved
yeah.
so he could make it live.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to approve us. I thought that they would not approve us because you couldn't watch the streams behind a VPN. That ended up being that they didn't want to approve us because we weren't showing an error message when the stream wouldn't work. So, yeah, so like at 3 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. or whatever it was, they ended up approving us. So total income last month was $2,248. Total expenses was $3,103. That means the total profit was negative $854. That ends up leaving a checking balance of 14,000, with 1,400 being in Stripe, and then that means our complete balance is about $1,500 right now, closer to 1,600. Which makes sense given last month and this month's charges. So now let's talk about this last paragraph here first, and then I'll come back to this. So as far as our finances go, we are making strides to downsize some of our servers and to cancel any unused services. There's a couple of things that we were trying out that don't really make sense anymore. Things like $10 a month. We're going to cancel any of our subscriptions we're not using anymore. And then I've already downsized the servers. They're all kind of the same size. We just have less of them now. And that's actually what we just experienced. It's not so frequent we have a stream that has 42 viewers on it. And so I downsized the servers enough that everyone was coming from New York, and we only had one New York server. So I need to make one more server for New York, and then it'll be fine. And then if your question is, okay, what happens when we start to grow? Well, we'll scale our servers back up. I just don't want to keep paying for them if we're not actively growing or we don't actively need them. I looked at the usage charts for the past 14 days and adjusted the servers based on that. So if we do start to see that kind of go up, we will scale. And if in the future we need to, we can make it scale automatically as well. So as far as fraudulent charges go, we actually had fraudulent charges for the first time ever. We ended up with 22 fraudulent charges amounting to $245. We canceled all of those subscriptions. We reported all of those charges as fraudulent and banned all of those users that were involved, and refunded. I think I already mentioned that. Thankfully, due to our chargeback protection, none of the streamers lost money. Now, in some cases, the streamer hadn't been paid yet. If they hadn't been paid yet, we did not send them the money. If they had already been paid, we did not retract the money. That's our process. That's what we do. And we've now, since then, tightened down some of the fraud levels, and we're manually reviewing every transaction as well. It is interesting to note that the fraud started for the first time ever when this war with Russia started, and all of the fraudulent charges were from Russian IP addresses. So something interesting to point out, correlation is not causation, but I think that was interesting. Alrighty. And yeah, so as far as servers go, we scaled them back. It should be about a $300 a month difference. We still won't be profitable, but hopefully I can just make this margin closer and closer, and hopefully our growth combined with all of the generous people who use the platform will help us continue to fund the platform. Now, as I've said before, and as I will say in every board meeting from now until the end of time, please don't worry about Glimesh shutting down just because these numbers are going lower and lower and lower. It's going to take time to build this. It's going to take time to grow. If we reach a point where we're out of money, I know that we will continue to exist. I will help the business as necessary continue to exist. We're not going to shut down overnight. We're not going to stop existing. We share our finances because they are what they are. We want to grow our finances because we want to help you be successful as a streamer. But sometimes, you have to spend money to make money. And so we want to make sure we've got servers ready to go. We've got things that are infrastructure ready to go. Infrastructure costs money. So this is not a free business, unfortunately. But if we run out of money, then we'll continue to float the business as needed. Now, if we're a year in and we're floating the business and it's not making money and it's not growing, then we're all doing something wrong here. So, we'll have discussions about that whenever that happens, but I don't think that'll ever happen. So, all right. So then last piece is here is, the mobile app launched, and that's it. Did anyone have any questions that you want me to go back to, or anything else you want me to cover again that wasn't clear? I'm waving a pen tonight, so. That's what we should do, is just have everyone host their own servers. And then we're decentralized, right? Yeah.
Clone, it was buried way up there earlier, but I did see somebody asked, I think it was a Mayan, asked what can they as an individual do to help out around here in any capacity, and what can everybody do?
Yeah, I mean, what everyone can do, this is the same answer as always. Definitely tell your friends, tell people who want to listen about Glimesh. I think, though, being generally helpful, answering questions that people have about Glimesh, that stuff goes a really long way. Streaming on Glimesh goes a long way. I think we do have a pretty good community here, really good community. But whenever you do stream, hopefully people stop by and say hi. I think the most effective thing that you can do is just be a good face for Glimesh. When people ask about it, when people are seeking alternatives. Okay, so let's dive into that. So I'm not asking you to go and spam Glimesh anywhere, but whenever people post about frustrations with other streaming platforms or willingness to find something new, it always helps. It always helps dramatically when people from our community say, hey, I tried Glimesh and I think this X, Y, and Z about it. There are alternatives out there. Glimesh is one that I use sometimes. Speaking honestly and genuinely about us when people are talking about problems that they have is a great way to have people find out about us. Now, again, that is not asking you to go find people that you've never talked with and start spamming them. That's not going to help us. It's going to hurt us. But telling people about us is going to be the way to help. And it gets hard, right? Like, I know that all of you, including myself, have problems marketing yourself. It's the most challenging thing in the world. People think coding is hard. No. Marketing, like growing yourself, growing your brand, that is the hardest thing to do. And so, I forgot what I was going with that, but yeah.
Marketing's hard.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then just pushing. It's always pushing.
especially with us being, we're a small team. um, we're not going out and like hiring big, advertising firms or marketing companies or anything like that. We don't have an in-house marketing professional or anything like that. So a lot of the times it's us trying to find the best way forward, and that's another one of the reasons that we always try and involve the community, because I damn sure don't know everything, and there's a lot of people out there that know more than me, and I'm happy to listen to them.
Alrighty, does anyone have any other questions relating to what we talked about tonight? Anything you want me to go over again? If not, we'll go ahead and end the recording, and then we'll keep the stream going so we can just chit chat or answer any kind of unrelated questions. Um, I'll give you 22 seconds. All right. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for checking out the April board meeting. As always, follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, check out our emails, whatever you want to do, however you want to follow us, do it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, and thanks you for supporting Glimesh. Good night.